All right, joining me now to talk about all this here in Boca, President of the Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haas. Richard, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Up awfully early this morning with me.
I noticed that.
Let's start right there with Libya. What's at the core of this issue for you? Because this has been going on for now more than a month, the back and forth. Is this a question, do you think, for the Romney campaign of incompetence out of the White House or the misrepresentation of facts?
Well, it has been the latter, but I think with this most recent report, that begins to fade a little bit. So you can look at the basic decision not to provide extra security, the decision by mid-level State Department officials. Then you look at the question of how the White House responded and why people couldn't get their story straight. I actually think that's going to fade now. Ultimately, the real question is the policy, what the United States has done in Libya and what we haven't done.
And the report in the New York Times over the weekend about Iran, how significant is this? Of course, the White House is shooting down the report. The New York Times cites a couple of Obama administration officials who say we're going to sit down one-on-one bilateral talks.
I think it's a big development. I actually hope the United States and Iran do sit down. We can coordinate with our allies. But look, we should not want to rush to war. If we have to go to war against Iran one day, fine. But no one should underestimate the potential risks and dangers. On the other hand, we clearly don't want to see Iran with a nuclear weapon or anything close to it. So this could give us our best chance either to negotiate our way out of this impasse, or if we can't, if we learn that the Iranians are determined to pursue a nuclear weapon no matter what, well, that tells us something. That's clarity, and then we can make some informed choices.
What kind of position does this put Mitt Romney in? Because he said before he doesn't want Iran to have any nuclear enrichment program whatsoever. What does this do to his position?
Well, I think it's a difficult case for the governor because the governor could become president. He doesn't want to say things that lock himself in. I think we want to basically say we want Iran to have minimal capabilities, certainly nothing close to nuclear weapons, keep everything to a minimum, and establish the principle that whatever little Iran can have, it has to be accompanied by truly intrusive inspections. We need to be reassured not simply what it is they're up to, but what they're not up to. And that's the sort of approach I would take.
Richard, as one of the foreign policy leaders in this country, what's the question you want to hear asked tonight of these two guys beyond the obvious that we've talked about?
The biggest foreign policy investments of the last 10, 15 years have been Iraq and Afghanistan. I think the most interesting question to ask of the two gentlemen who want to be president, what have you learned from this? What sort of lessons will you take as we look at the Middle East, which is the most volatile part of the world? What have you taken from Iraq, from Afghanistan? How will that influence you moving forward?
All right, Richard Haas, we'll talk much more to you coming up on Morning Joe. Appreciate you waking up a little early. Well, last question, actually. A-Rod, what do you do with him?